And we know that Meghan is obsessed with trying to pretend that she is Diana's reincarnation, and Harry seems to like it for whatever Freudian reason.
Harry and Meghan breaking the Sandringham Agreement, and why the Queen would never have tolerated the despicable behaviour we are seeing now.
They weren't able to stick to these rules. They aren't planning to stick to these rules. And according to Taz, has already dismantled this whole Meghan. It just doesn't have the same ring, does it? This whole Meghan scam, the circus. And Taz, you're completely right, because for so long I have been saying there is such a simple way for Harry and Meghan to bring the children. It would be at Balmoral over the summer. It could all be done in total privacy.
For years, Harry and Meghan built their entire public image around one powerful message that shaped almost everything they did. Their multi-million-dollar narrative rested on a simple but effective idea. The British monarchy rejected us, but America became our safe harbor. That message wasn't just repeated once or twice. It became the foundation of interviews, documentaries, public appearances, and endless headlines that kept people talking across the world. They portrayed the United Kingdom as cold, harsh, and unwilling to embrace them.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle already plotting to break these so-called new Megxit rules. Because, of course, Megxit was never going to last, given they aren't making any money. So they did this new deal with the British royal family, with Alison Boshoff revealing the Sussexes have agreed to a whole load of respectful guidelines,
while presenting the United States as a place where they could finally start over in peace. America was framed as the country that welcomed them with open arms, giving them the freedom and support they believed they had been denied before. For a long time, that storyline became one of the biggest reasons so many people followed every move they made. But this week, that carefully crafted image took a serious hit. The narrative that seemed so strong for years suddenly started falling apart, and the criticism wasn't coming from the people many expected. It wasn't British tabloids looking for another headline. It wasn't royal loyalists defending the monarchy.
Harry and Meghan supposedly heading back for the Invictus games. A week ago he was bringing her and the kids. Then a couple of days after that they were staying in a royal palace. William wasn't happy. Kate did the Three Peaks challenge. Now apparently Meghan might not come. The kids might not come. Again, an absolute cluster bomb. I nearly said the wrong word.
Instead, more everyday Americans began speaking up, and many of them sounded far less impressed than before. People across social media, podcasts, television panels, and online discussions started asking tougher questions about the Sussex brand. Others openly wondered whether the constant headlines, interviews, and public complaints had simply worn out their welcome. Some voices even put it bluntly, saying, "We are sick of them too." Whether those comments reflect a growing trend or just a louder group of critics, they added even more pressure to a public image that already seemed to be facing new challenges.
But I bring Charlie, and this is a bit I don't understand, team, right? You didn't want anything to do with the royal family. But now when you choose to come back for whatever reasons, to see your father or ingratiate yourself and get a few quid, sorry, Sharon, you won't like that.
When both the country you left behind and the country where you hope to build a fresh future are generating growing criticism, it's hard to ignore what that says about the current situation. And once you see what happened this week and why it sparked so much attention, you'll understand why so many people believe the Sussex brand may be facing one of its biggest turning points yet. Let's be honest for a second. The whole story about leaving everything behind in search of freedom only works if the people in your new home are actually excited to have you there. For years, Harry and Meghan's move to Montecito was presented as a fresh beginning, with America becoming the place where they could finally live life on their own terms. That narrative helped shape their public image, and for a while, plenty of people supported it without much hesitation.
Why the bloody hell should you have taxpayer-funded security? Because you don't like my country, you don't like the royal family, you don't want to be here.
Fast forward 6 years, and the conversation feels very different. Take a look at comment sections, opinion polls, television discussions, and social media, and you'll notice something that keeps coming up again and again. The dominant reaction isn't outrage anymore. It isn't even shock. It's exhaustion. Many people simply seem tired of seeing the same headlines return over and over, each one bringing another interview, another project, or another public discussion about the same ongoing story. Critics argue that the steady stream of Netflix documentaries, Spotify podcasts, best-selling books, interviews, and lifestyle ventures has left many viewers feeling burned out. What's especially interesting is that some of the louder criticism isn't only coming from longtime royal supporters. Some of the very people who once defended the couple after the Oprah interview are now asking tougher questions and wondering whether the message has changed over time. More voices are pointing out what they see as a contradiction, saying that for a couple who spoke often about wanting a quieter and more private life,
put it into context, he can fund it himself if he wanted to. No one is saying that you can't have security. If you want private security, go and get it. You've got the money, you've sold a lot of books, I understand, and Netflix documentaries and all the rest of it. You can fund that security privately. It doesn't have to come from the Home Office.
They have remained highly visible in the public spotlight. So what finally seemed to shift the mood for many people? According to many commentators, the answer begins with the one part of Harry's public image that was often viewed as being above criticism: his long connection to the Invictus Games and the veterans who inspired the event. For years, even some of Harry's strongest critics would pause before criticizing that part of his work. They would often say, well, at least he does great work with the Invictus Games. That achievement became one of the strongest parts of his public reputation. It wasn't just another headline or media appearance. It was widely seen as a meaningful project that gave wounded and recovering service members a global platform while setting him apart from the world of celebrity branding and Hollywood attention. Now, however, even that long-standing source of goodwill is being debated more openly than before. For many observers, the shield that once protected Harry from some of the harshest criticism no longer seems as untouchable as it once did. Right now, some military families, veterans, and supporters of the Invictus Games are voicing growing concerns about the direction they believe the event has taken.
And Kinsey's absolutely right. You know, if you agree to living in grounds that are protected already by the household security and household protection officers, then that is one thing. But the idea that you can just turn up and expect to be meted and greeted, a bit like you at the airport, I suppose.
According to critics, the focus has gradually shifted away from the remarkable stories of the competitors and toward the constant media attention surrounding Harry and Meghan. Instead of conversations centered on the athletes, many headlines seem to revolve around celebrity appearances, public image, and everything happening around the couple. Critics point to news coverage that often highlights Meghan's wardrobe, Harry's security arrangements, or the presence of documentary cameras instead of the achievements of the wounded service members competing at the Games. Many people argue that the spotlight should remain on the veterans who trained for months, overcame enormous personal challenges, and traveled from around the world to represent their countries. They believe those inspiring stories deserve to receive the biggest headlines, not the surrounding celebrity coverage. Adding even more fuel to the Games' debate are reports and public discussions claiming that some competitors have faced significant personal expenses related to participating in the Games, while Harry's travel and accommodations have drawn attention because of their high-profile nature. Those claims have sparked fresh questions online, with some commentators calling for greater transparency about how the event operates and how resources are allocated. The conversation has become increasingly intense as more people ask for clearer answers and more detailed information. The result is that what was once considered one of Harry's strongest public achievements is now facing far more scrutiny than in previous years.
The important thing about the photo is it won't be taken by Harry or Meghan or by their side. I agree with you. I think there could be a photo, but it will be Charles. So, Harry's been told, no merching, no shenanigans. Okay. So that means no, here's our camera crew. There is a camera crew who will be following him at Invictus, by the way.
Some critics have even suggested major changes in leadership or called for veterans to reconsider their involvement until those concerns are addressed. Whether those calls gain wider support or not, they show just how dramatically the public conversation has shifted around a project that was once almost universally praised. At the same time, another story grabbed headlines this week. Many mainstream reports presented a heartfelt narrative about a son traveling across the Atlantic to spend time with his father, King Charles, during a difficult period, with the visit being described as an emotional family moment. But away from those headlines, some commentators and unnamed insiders have offered a very different interpretation. suggesting the trip was viewed by some as part of a broader strategy rather than simply a private family visit.
Private jet to Aberdeen, that short journey. And remember, Harry made that journey after the late Queen Elizabeth II's death with no issues whatsoever, into protection at Balmoral. No one would know, no one would see, and actually no one would care. But
those competing narratives have only added another layer of public debate surrounding the Sussexes. At the centre of the latest controversy is one issue that has followed Harry for years: security. More specifically, the debate focuses on whether he should receive full-time, taxpayer-funded police protection while visiting the United Kingdom, similar to the level of security he had as a working member of the royal family. After stepping away from that role, those arrangements changed, leading to a legal dispute that has continued to generate headlines and strong opinions from both supporters and critics alike. British courts ultimately ruled against restoring that level of automatic protection, and the decision immediately reignited public discussion. Soon afterward, reports suggested that family travel plans had changed, with claims that the children would not be travelling because of concerns about safety in Britain. That explanation quickly became one of the biggest talking points, with many people debating whether the security concerns justified the decision or whether something else was influencing the situation. Critics were especially quick to compare those concerns with the couple's recent international travel. They pointed out that Harry and Meghan have visited countries including Portugal, Nigeria, Colombia, and Ukraine under different circumstances.
Announcing that Meghan, Archie, and Lily would come, that he's forcing the hands of the UK authorities and perhaps indirectly King Charles in order to get that decision across the line in his favour. Let's not forget that he was unsuccessful in the High Court suing the British government,
leading some commentators to question why London, a city with extensive security resources and one of the most heavily monitored capitals in the world, was being described as presenting such a difficult security challenge. Those comparisons spread rapidly online and fueled even more debate across news programmes and social media. Another argument gaining attention was the suggestion from some commentators that the timing of the proposed family visit created the appearance of added pressure during an already sensitive period for King Charles. Critics claimed it looked as though the possibility of bringing the grandchildren to visit had become intertwined with the ongoing security dispute. Supporters rejected that interpretation, but the competing narratives only intensified public discussion and kept the story dominating headlines throughout the week. As that debate continued, another development quickly captured even more attention. This time, the focus shifted to Althorpe, the Spencer family's ancestral estate and the final resting place of Princess Diana. Any story connected to such a deeply personal and symbolic location was always likely to attract enormous public interest, and this latest chapter proved no different. A son visiting his mother's grave would normally be seen as an intensely private and deeply personal moment. But this week, that possibility became the centre of another wave of public debate, after rumours and media reports began circulating about what might have been planned. According to those reports, a camera crew was expected to be involved as part of a documentary project connected to the upcoming 30th anniversary of Princess Diana's passing. While those claims have not been confirmed, they quickly spread across news outlets and social media, drawing widespread attention and sparking strong reactions. For many people following the story, the idea that such a meaningful family visit could potentially become part of a streaming documentary was difficult to ignore.
Megxit was never going to last, given they aren't making any money. So they did this new deal with the British royal family with Alison Boshoff, revealing the Sussexes have agreed to a whole load of respectful guidelines when they're in the UK, and that's the reason why the king decided to reunite with them and his grandchildren.
Critics argued that if a private moment at Diana's final resting place were ever filmed, edited, and presented as entertainment, it would raise uncomfortable questions about where the line between personal remembrance and public storytelling should be drawn. Those discussions gained momentum very quickly, with countless online comments debating whether deeply personal family moments should ever become part of a commercial media project. Some commentators also pointed to what they viewed as an uncomfortable contradiction. Harry has often spoken about wanting to protect his family from relentless media attention, yet critics argued that reports linking a possible graveside visit to a documentary project seemed difficult to reconcile with that message. Supporters pushed back by noting that much of the discussion was based on speculation rather than confirmed facts. But the public debate continued to grow throughout the week. Reports also claimed that Earl Spencer, Princess Diana's brother, did not allow any filming on the Althorpe estate. Those reports added another layer to the story, leading some commentators to question whether the visit would have gone ahead under those circumstances.
Said from the get-go that I thought that it was a setup, and that if Harry didn't get his way, then he gets to continue to villainize his father, which he has been consistently doing between Spare, between the Netflix series, the same man that walked his wife down the aisle.
Without official confirmation of the reported plans, the speculation only fueled even more discussion across television programs, online platforms, and newspaper columns. As headlines focused on the Sussexes, the wider royal family found itself facing a difficult week as well. King Charles attracted criticism from some commentators after discussions surrounding the wording of his historic title, Defender of the Faith, and its broader interpretation generated public debate. At the same time, fresh photographs of Prince Andrew attending a horse event prompted another round of headlines, serving as a reminder that long-standing controversies connected to the royal family continue to attract intense public attention and media scrutiny. At the same time, political developments in Britain added even more uncertainty to an already complicated situation.
For the last 6 years, he's been critical of his father and trying to put the royal family in this really negative light. That was my initial instinct. I don't think Harry is going to bring the kids over. He'll say, my dad is the bad guy.
Shifting priorities within the government led many commentators to speculate about what those changes could mean for Harry's ongoing security dispute and the broader legal and political conversations surrounding it. With the landscape constantly changing, some observers questioned whether the environment had become even less favorable for the outcome Harry has been seeking over the past several years. As those discussions continued, attention also turned toward King Charles. Throughout the latest headlines, the king has largely avoided making public comments about the ongoing family tensions, choosing instead to remain silent. That approach has drawn mixed reactions. Some people believe staying quiet helps avoid making an already difficult situation even more public, while others argue that the lack of visible action has left room for growing frustration and endless speculation. Among the king's critics, some have argued that Queen Elizabeth II would have handled the situation very differently, suggesting she might have taken stronger or faster action if faced with similar circumstances. Whether that comparison is fair or not, it has become another major topic of debate, adding even more pressure to a story that has already dominated headlines for years. Meanwhile, reports from various media outlets suggest that Prince William remains firmly focused on maintaining clear boundaries. According to those reports, there has been little sign of progress toward repairing the relationship between the brothers, with commentators describing the divide as deeper than ever.
The roads have full potholes. They have no electricity at night in the streets. Their garbage is not being picked up. Social programs have been shut down because they have no funds. But Harry got £27 million, almost $35 million.
While none of the private family discussions have been publicly confirmed, the consistent message from multiple reports is that William's position has remained unchanged. Many royal watchers believe William is thinking well beyond today's headlines. As his own children grow older, commentators say he is focused on protecting their privacy and keeping them away from the constant media attention that has surrounded family disputes for years. Whether those reports fully reflect the situation or not, they have reinforced the public perception that William is taking a long-term approach rather than looking for a quick reconciliation. Taken together, these developments have led many observers to argue that Harry and Meghan are facing a far more challenging public environment than they did just a few years ago. According to that view, support appears more divided, public patience is being tested, and the conversations surrounding the couple continue to grow more intense on both sides of the Atlantic. The debate surrounding the Invictus Games continues to generate strong reactions, with many veterans, supporters, and commentators calling for the focus to remain on the competitors and their achievements rather than the headlines surrounding the people connected to the event. At the same time, reports continue to describe a deep divide between Harry and the royal family, with little indication that the relationship is improving anytime soon. Whether those tensions eventually ease or become even more public remains one of the biggest questions hanging over the monarchy today.
It's in black and white, and it wasn't granted what he wanted to get done. But Shabana Mahmood, I've been told, has offered him full convoy police protection, away from Ravik, away from the police, literally sucking more resources from Birmingham, who's already bankrupt.
Adding another layer to the story is the reported documentary marking the upcoming 30th anniversary of Princess Diana's passing. Even before its release, it has already become the subject of widespread speculation, with royal watchers wondering what new details, interviews, or perspectives it could bring. If recent weeks have shown anything, it's that almost every new development involving Harry, Meghan, or Princess Diana quickly becomes a major international headline. That means the conversation is far from over, and many people believe the next chapter could be just around the corner. One thing is certain, the spotlight hasn't gone away. Every public appearance, every interview, every report, and every new project continues to spark fresh debates across television, newspapers, podcasts, and social media. Supporters continue to defend the couple, critics continue to question their decisions, and millions of people around the world keep watching to see what happens next. Whether the next headline changes public opinion or simply adds another chapter to an already remarkable story remains to be seen. Now it's your turn. Do you think the Sussex story has finally reached its natural ending? Or do you believe there's still another major twist waiting to unfold? Is public opinion shifting for good? Or could another interview, documentary, or unexpected announcement completely change the conversation once again?
Because I can see Meghan and Harry seeing the worth of the children, the backs of their heads at least, at Diana's gravesite. You know, we saw Archie when he was a baby in Netflix footage stroking a photograph of Diana on the wall.
Share your thoughts in the comments below, because this is one of those stories where every perspective adds something new to the discussion, and I genuinely enjoy reading what you have to say. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more in-depth coverage of the biggest royal stories making headlines around the world. Be sure to turn on notifications so you're always among the first to know when a new video goes live. And if you're ready to keep going, click one of the videos appearing on your screen right now for even more behind-the-scenes details, major developments, and the latest updates surrounding the royal family and the Sussexes. There's plenty more to uncover, and you won't want to miss what's coming next.